I've always been good at math, and I've always been obsessed with time. And so and I talk about this in the book a bit about my story, but, I studied math in undergrad, graduated early, not to brag. It was more just I was efficient. Went to get a master's in financial engineering from Berkeley. Different companies came and started interviewing, and I didn't even know about high frequency trading. I kind of fell into it, and it seemed perfect. I like chess. I like math. I used to play poker about 50 hours a week in undergrad. It kind of paid for my undergrad. So I liked all those types of things. So when I kind of learned what this is, I'm like, wait, so to me, the stock market's just a big video game anyway, kind of. So it's like, wait, I can kind of use like all of my skill sets in one. And so I've always been in the space of productivity and time savings. And so CPR is that core, and it stands for communication, planning, and resources. And so imagine you were going to take your team camping in the forest. We're going through a recession, so maybe instead of a team retreat at a hotel, now you've got to go to a forest. Okay. So imagine for a second you're on your team retreat in a forest. Like, what would you need? You would need maybe a manual for how to put the tent together and what to do if a bear comes. You would need walkie-talkies to communicate with each other. And you would also need a map to navigate out of the forest. So those are kind of the three distinct tools that you would need on that team retreat. Same in your team and in your business. You need to communicate both with your team and with your clients and your vendors. You need to plan. Like, no matter what you do, you have tasks and projects and work that needs to get done. And then lastly, you have resources. Like you've got digital knowledge, you've got intellectual property, you have your SOPs, your processes. There's a framework that we developed called RAD, Reply, Archive, Defer. Most people don't use email properly. It's been around for decades. People don't use it properly at all. And it's usually a really good starting point with efficiency, because if you get better at managing your email, you'll save time, and it doesn't require the rest of the team to be on board to that RAD system and the best practices. Email, you could be a team of 10 and put 3 people through email, and it's totally fine. Those 3 people will get benefit, and the 7 others will continue to be more stressed out and waste time and miss emails and miss money by not doing it. So in the book, we lay out a strategy, and actually the most popular thing we do at Leverage is inbox zero training. We've got programs to teach people how to use email properly. It's one of the most popular and impactful programs that we've ever released, and it's one of the best investments that we see people can make. There's some things that are just like quick wins. Some of it's just mindset stuff, like knowing what your hourly rate is. Just being aware of that tells you a lot. If your time is worth $100 an hour and you're doing activities that you could pay someone $20 an hour to do, that doesn't take an engineer to kind of tell you like, hey, you're losing money here. So that's one. Teaching email is another one. Some of it too, it's like, it's not just saving time, it's optimizing time. So like 9 a.m. on a Monday is far more valuable of a time slot than 7 p.m. on a Friday after 100 Zoom calls for the week and you're in the back of an Uber and you're exhausted. And so if you could free up time from meetings on those high value time slots, if your time's $100 an hour, maybe it's worth $1,000 an hour at 9 a.m. Like maybe your brain is at full horsepower versus at the end of the week and you're tired.
One of the things that I like about your approach, Nick, is that you're good at communicating this stuff. I've definitely met my fair share of engineer-minded individuals that take complex things or even simple things and make them complicated. But
Thank you.
Just in this conversation, you're good at speaking in a language that people can understand and not making it seem.
Well, the first day, that's a very nice compliment. I appreciate it. The first day at grad school, I did a master's in financial engineering. They said, look, we're going to be teaching you the same math that you would use to put a rocket up into space. But our goal is at the end of this program, it was like a 1-year program. If you can explain what you do to a 5-year-old, we've done our job, because that demonstrates mastery. If you can really articulate a complex idea in a simple, digestible way. So I really take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Morning routine for you? Like, are you one of the folks that's like hyper engineered what you do in the morning and it's like always the same and anchored in? Is it more like, yeah, whatever, I just want my personal time? Really like about your
it's
morning?
not like super rigid. I mean, I wake up maybe around 6:30, somewhere in between there. I'll make like a protein shake that I'll drink later, but I kind of get it ready. Again, like I know that the first, say, 30 minutes, my brain's not yet at full horsepower.
Yeah.
So what can I do that needs to get done that doesn't require my brain to be at full horsepower?
Mhm.
Making a smoothie while I'm like still half asleep, you know, I'm awake enough to get that done, and it needs, you know, and I like to have it after I work out, so I get that ready.
If you enjoy this podcast, please make sure to subscribe. And to stay updated on everything that the Action Catalyst is up to, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Action Catalyst Podcast and on Twitter at Catalyst_Action. And thanks for listening.